Hello and welcome to CFN Media. I'm John Veneri, editor of Catholic Family News. If Pope Pius XII, who died in 1958, if Pope Pius XII had stepped into a time capsule and could be transported to 2015, and if we would walk into the average diocesan parish church for Sunday Mass, what would be his reaction?
And he will raise you up on eagle's wings.
He would assume that a weird liberal sect had commandeered the once Catholic building, a sect that offers a Protestant-styled liturgy and spouts bizarre teachings such as the encouragement of ecumenism and dialogue is a word not found in a single church document prior to 1962, a sect that sings insipid hymns and allows slovenly immodest dress during worship, a sect that spends vast sums of money renovating and decatholicizing church interiors, a sect where lay people read the epistle and sometimes lead the prayers, a sect where Latin is not pronounced and that offers its entire liturgy in the vernacular, which is a hallmark of Protestantism, a sect whose members receive communion in the hand and allow lay people to distribute communion, indicating that the sect probably does not believe in the real presence of Christ in the Eucharist, a sect that allows liturgical dancing, even by its ministers, some of whom dress as Franciscan friars. Pius XII would also assume, due to the dwindling numbers, that the sect is dying. But if Pope Pius XII would now walk into St. James Church on the west end of Pittsburgh, what would he see? He would encounter a Mass that is genuinely Catholic. He would hear immutable Catholic doctrine preached as it has always been taught throughout the centuries and preached with conviction. He would encounter reverence for the Eucharist, wherein the members of the congregation kneel at the communion rail and receive only on the tongue. In short, Pius XII would feel right at home at the Mass at St. James Church, offered by the Society of St. Pius X in Pittsburgh. Now, I'm talking about St. James, of course, because on March 28, 2015, the Society of St. Pius X rededicated this former diocesan church with a solemn blessing in First Mass. More than 10 priests, a number of religious, and over 550 faithful attended the solemn rededication, and the rededication starts with 3 blessings. First, there is the blessing of the church exterior. Second, the blessing of the altar. And third, the blessing of the church interior. And this solemn blessing was immediately followed by a solemn high Mass. The Society of St. Pius X in Pittsburgh had been located in Collier, Pennsylvania. It was a school that was converted to a chapel, but there was a determination to find a more fitting setting for the true Mass and the Holy Eucharist. A handful of dedicated laymen sought to purchase a former diocesan church, but this proves difficult because the diocese places restrictions that causes alleged obstacles for the church thereafter to be used for the Latin Tridentine Mass. So anyway, in the process of this search, a local merchant in the west end of Pittsburgh suggested to the Society of St. Pius X representatives that they look to purchase St. James Church that had been sold in 2004 to become an art gallery. Father Patrick Rutledge, even before the owner of the property was approached, Father Rutledge planted miraculous medals in the corners of the building, and even though the church had not been on the market, the owner agreed to sell, and the real estate closure of the church took place on August 15th, 2014. Now, a little quick history of St. James. St. James Parish was founded in 1853, and the present church was completed in 1884. But in the years following Vatican II, the new liberal program of which set off the ongoing epidemic of church closings, St. James shut its doors in 2004 and, as we said, was sold to the art gallery owner the same year. Fast forward to 2014, After the Society of St. Pius X purchased St. James, a colossal amount of work went into revitalizing the old building. There is still work to be done, but the church is now dedicated, beautiful, and operational for public use. The Diocese of Pittsburgh had plenty to say in reaction against the Society of St. Pius X. The SSPX is falsely denounced as outside the church, even though they are more faithful to the perennial Catholic doctrine and practice than the present-day hierarchy, and that's not an exaggeration. For example, Pittsburgh's own Bishop Zubik surrendering to the new pan-Christian ecumenism, an ecumenism that stands condemned by 2,000 years of the perennial magisterium and condemned specifically in Pius XI's 1928 encyclical Mortalium Animus. Bishop Zubik encouraged Catholics to attend the so-called Festival of Hope of Protestant Franklin Graham, a huge stadium event for August 15th to 17th, 2014, and Bishop Zubik himself, a supposedly Catholic prelate, delivered the opening prayer at this Protestant jamboree. Bishop Zubik also requested that the Knights of Columbus volunteer to usher at Graham's mega Protestant revival, and I'm told a number of the Knights were thoroughly scandalized by Zubik's proposal. Here's some footage of the Protestant altar call from the August event.
I am a sinner. I'm sorry for my sins. Forgive me. I want to turn from my sins.
It's the Protestant style, your sins are forgiven by giving your life to Jesus, an error of Protestantism that bypasses the sacrament of confession and bypasses all the sacraments established by Christ. And look at the dates of this Franklin event. August 15th to 17th. Pittsburgh's Bishop Zubik encouraged Catholics to take part in this Protestant event on the feast of Our Lady's Assumption. Yet this is the same Bishop Zubik who tells Catholics they should not attend the Mass of the Society of St. Pius X, a group whose only quote-unquote crime is complete fidelity to everything the Church taught and practiced for 2,000 years, and whom even Vatican's Cardinal Cassidy had admitted are not outside the Church, but their situation constitutes, and these are his words, constitutes an internal Church matter. So, in closing, as I said earlier, if Pope Pius XII was transported forward in time to Pittsburgh or to pretty much any parish around the globe, he would not recognize as part of his faith the liturgy now celebrated in the diocesan churches. But Pius XII and his predecessors would recognize as thoroughly Catholic the liturgy, the doctrine, and the moral teaching found at St. James Church in Pittsburgh, run by the Society of St. Pius X. It was a privilege to attend the solemn blessing and first Mass at St. James. The church is located at 326 South Main Street, Pittsburgh, PA 15220. The Latin Tridentine Mass is celebrated there every Sunday at 9 o'clock, as well as First Fridays, First Saturdays, and Holy Days of Obligation. So in the next CFN Media, as I promised in the past, we are going to spotlight the Protestant orientation of the Novus Ordo Mass, of the new Mass. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel, CFN Media. Encourage others to do so. Share this video with others, and we will see you on our next broadcast. I'm John Veneri for Catholic Family News.